Welcome to IQD Dinar News, your go-to source for the latest updates on currency exchange rates, revaluation news, and insights into the Iraqi dinar. Stay informed and ahead of the curve with our timely analysis and breaking developments. This cautious approach by the US is largely influenced by its long-term strategic interests in the Middle East, where Iraq holds a pivotal role due to its geographical location, significant oil reserves, and influence within regional politics. The US and Iraq share a complex history marked by wars, sanctions, interventions, and the rebuilding of governmental structures, which has shaped the U.S.'s current stance on maintaining stability in Iraq. A deep dive into Washington's motives shows that the US sees Iraq not only as an ally but also as a buffer against regional powers such as Iran, which has considerable influence in Iraq's political landscape. Following the 2003 invasion, the US invested heavily in rebuilding Iraq's political institutions, with the goal of fostering a government that could stand independently yet remain allied with American interests. This historical investment shapes current US policy, making Washington wary of any sudden destabilization that could undo years of diplomatic and financial efforts. Iraq's economy, heavily reliant on oil exports, is another reason the US aims to avoid disruption. The stability of Iraq's oil production directly impacts global markets, especially considering that Iraq is one of the world's largest oil producers. Any political or economic upheaval in Iraq could cause fluctuations in oil prices, affecting not only the US economy but also the global market. Therefore, Washington's policies are crafted to keep Iraq's economy steady, even amid internal challenges. By working with the Iraqi government, the US aims to ensure that oil production remains uninterrupted, which in turn supports economic stability in the region. The United States also understands that Iraq's political situation is fragile, characterized by a government that often struggles with factionalism. Iraq's population is diverse, with a mix of Shia, Sunni, and Kurdish communities, each with different political aspirations. This diversity has historically led to internal divisions, which external actors like Iran can exploit to further their influence. In this environment, Washington's avoidance of escalation is rooted in the understanding that overt US intervention might exacerbate these divisions rather than mitigate them. By providing low-profile support, the US aims to strengthen Iraq's central government without drawing significant attention, thereby allowing Iraqis to resolve internal conflicts with minimal external influence. On the security front, Washington's cautious approach reflects the need to avoid reigniting hostilities with armed groups within Iraq, including factions loyal to Iranian interests and groups opposed to US presence. The US maintains a strategic presence in Iraq, but this presence is often met with mixed reactions from the Iraqi public. Periods of high tension, such as retaliatory strikes between US and Iranian-backed forces, could destabilize Iraq's already fragile security situation. To avoid escalation, the US adopts policies that balance deterrence with diplomacy, supporting Iraqi forces with intelligence and logistical aid without direct confrontation, unless absolutely necessary. Moreover, Iraq's role in the broader Middle East equation cannot be overstated. Iraq's relationships with neighboring countries like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Iran add layers of complexity to its political landscape, making Washington's involvement a careful balancing act. By promoting Iraq's stability, the US indirectly fosters a more stable regional environment, reducing the likelihood of conflict spillovers that could draw in multiple nations. In recent years, Iraq has taken on a diplomatic role, acting as a mediator in talks between Saudi Arabia and Iran. This role aligns with U.S. interests in reducing tensions in the Middle East, as it fosters a stable environment where the U.S. does not need to intervene directly. Economic policies also play a significant role in Washington's approach to Iraq. The U.S. encourages reforms within Iraq's economy to promote growth and reduce dependence on oil revenue. By working with international institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, the U.S. supports initiatives that strengthen Iraq's economy, making it more resilient to external shocks. A strong Iraqi economy is seen as a way to reduce the appeal of extremism and foster a more stable political environment. Economic stability provides Iraq's government with greater leverage to address domestic issues without excessive reliance on foreign aid, thus creating a more self-sustaining ally for the U.S. Additionally, Iraq's internal political dynamics, marked by shifting alliances and influence from various factions, mean that Washington must continuously reassess its approach. The U.S. aims to support democratic processes in Iraq, but this support is nuanced, recognizing that sudden political changes could lead to power vacuums that extremist groups might exploit. By engaging in consistent diplomatic dialogue, Washington seeks to prevent such power vacuums, encouraging gradual reforms that maintain the government's functionality and legitimacy. Another factor in Washington's cautious approach is the public perception of U.S. involvement in Iraq, both within the U.S. and in Iraq itself. After years of military presence, there is a weariness among the American public regarding prolonged foreign interventions, particularly in the Middle East. Consequently, U.S. policymakers are wary of actions that could be perceived as a return to large-scale interventionism. Instead, the U.S. favors a strategy that combines soft power with targeted assistance, such as supporting Iraq's anti-corruption initiatives and aiding civil society organizations. This approach allows the U.S. to foster goodwill among Iraqis and avoid the backlash that often accompanies more visible interventions. Washington also considers the influence of other global powers, like China and Russia, in Iraq. Both countries have shown interest in Iraq's energy sector, which could shift the balance of power in the region if they establish a stronger foothold. The U.S. avoids direct confrontation but remains aware of these influences, adjusting its policies to ensure that Iraq does not become overly reliant on any single foreign power. By maintaining a steady, supportive relationship, the U.S. aims to keep Iraq aligned with its interests without aggressive competition with other global powers. The potential for economic sanctions or other punitive measures is also on Washington's radar but used sparingly, as sanctions could further destabilize Iraq's economy, pushing it toward other international players who may be less concerned about long-term stability. Instead, the U.S. prefers diplomatic measures that encourage compliance without isolating Iraq or causing undue hardship to its population. This approach underscores Washington's belief that a stable Iraq is more beneficial than a politically subservient one. In essence, the U.S. strategy in Iraq is one of cautious partnership, seeking to balance its interests with Iraq's sovereignty and stability. By focusing on economic support, security cooperation, and diplomatic engagement, Washington aims to prevent escalation and create a stable environment where Iraq can develop independently yet remain a reliable partner. This strategy reflects a recognition of Iraq's centrality in the Middle East and the understanding that a strong, stable Iraq contributes to a more balanced and less volatile region. Washington's approach, therefore, is not just about avoiding immediate conflict but about fostering a long-term relationship that aligns Iraq's growth with U.S. and regional stability goals. Thanks for tuning in to IQD Dinar News. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. For more updates on the Iraqi dinar and global currency trends. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.